Mhm.
there's an earlier question, which is, can you prove that the relationship is real? And,
Okay.
now, maybe we can touch on that for a second, then jump
Okay, because
over
that's a question I have. I always ask that when I see these shows and
okay.
think, could I do that? I mean, love is a crazy thing where, it's a leap of faith, right?
So in the process of sponsoring someone, there's an interview. The
Right.
person coming into the country is going to be interviewed. And the interview is all about, is this a marriage of convenience for immigration reasons? In other words, is this person really saying they're marrying this person for love reasons, but actually marrying the person's passport so they can get into the country? So the big question is, how do you prove that this is a real relationship? And they have to go through an interview, and the interview people who run the interview are skilled at being able to detect whether the relationship's real or not. I think some of the factors that they use might be of interest to people who are listening to this.
Yes, please.
So, for example, I'll give you one example that didn't work in my career. I had a situation where there was a person sponsoring a woman, a Canadian woman, was sponsoring a husband from abroad, who was actually from the Philippines,
Right.
and the husband was 10 years younger than the spouse.
I can see that. That makes sense to me.
It makes sense to me too, but it didn't make sense to the official who was considering the application. And our argument was, if Pierre Trudeau could marry someone who was 10 years younger than him and make a go of it, why can't this relationship work as the opposite?
Precisely.
So it can work, but in that case it didn't. But one of the factors they look at is the age difference between the people. Other factors are educational differences. If you got a PhD on one side and a blue collar worker on another, that's an alarm.
Right.
Different religious backgrounds. One's a Baptist, the other's let's say a Muslim or whatever. That's an alarm.
Right.
A great disparity in wealth. One's very rich, the other's very poor. That's an alarm. Previous relationships and how that all factors in. If someone's been through like 5 relationships, is now on the 6th, there's an alarm there.
That makes sense.
How they met, under what circumstances, and how the relationship grew. So if they just met, had one cocktail together, and now they're getting married, and the person's being sponsored, that's a challenge. Doesn't sound like something that's evolving in the normal course of events. So those are factors. And I just want to draw an analogy. During World War II, this is an interrogation method that they used in World War II when they found someone on the front and they didn't know what language the guy spoke. What they do is they put him up in a room with a bed, and in the middle of his sleep, they'd pull the legs out from under the bed, and the guy would fall on the floor and he'd swear in whatever language, you son of a, or whatever, in whatever language was his mother language. And that's the way they figured out, oh, this guy's German or this guy's French.
Oh, no way. That's hilarious.
If they were hiding, And they also used interrogation methods, like they would ask a row of questions and then ask someone who he's related to the same questions to see who's lying. If everything matches, looks like it's a real, situation. But if there was conflict in the question, where were you born? In Italy. Where does the other guy say he was born? In Sweden. How old are you? 33. The other guy says 43. Right. If they're colliding like that in answers, and in the marriage situation, they'll interview the person who's coming in, but also the sponsor, and see how many collisions are there in answers to the same questions. And if there's a lot of collisions, then they say, okay, that can't be a real relationship. This is all baloney.
And when you say collision, are they asking them like the same question, like how did you meet, this kind of stuff, to see if
they'll say, what? For example, they'll ask the man, say like, did you meet the family of the woman? And he said, yeah. Oh, okay. Well, what family does she have? And he may say, well, it's 2 brothers and 1 sister. And then they ask the woman, and she said, well, I don't have any brothers or sisters.
Oh, okay. Red flag. Okay.
Yeah. So things like that. So that's how they do it in the interview as part of the process of coming over.